Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. I'm in the Tony Awards suite at Sofitel NYC, which is the official hotel of the 2019 Tony Awards, and I'm sitting with one of this year's nominees for Best Choreography for his show-stopping work in Kiss Me Kate. Please welcome Warren Carlyle. I am thrilled to be sitting here with you in the Tony Awards suite.
This is amazing. Amazing. Back at the Sofitel. I love it.
Now, you love the Sofitel. You do Sofitel Australia?
I do. The Sofitel in Melbourne is a favorite of mine. Michael, the bartender, is also a favorite of mine.
So you'll be seeing a lot of him flying back and forth because you fly back and forth because you're also putting together the Hugh Jackman show.
That's right. That's right. Coming to an arena near you.
Very
soon.
Okay, so here we are. What an exciting year for you. You know, what I want to tell you is what I admire the most about your work in Kiss Me Kate is you have created one showstopper after another, but they're all character driven, which I think is amazing. Was that something you thought about from the beginning?
I mean, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love telling story. You know, I love being a director too, and I had a chance with Kiss Me Kate to do 5 different styles of dance. I mean, how fun is that?
Yeah.
A tarantella, you know, there's very classical grape dance, Tom, Dick, and Harry, which is good old-fashioned musical staging, Too Darn Hot, which is kind of good American Broadway dance, and some Nicholas Brothers tap thrown in there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but yes, character-based.
Okay, you are so great with collaborating. Let's talk about Kiss Me Kate. You're working with one of the finest directors, with Scott Ellis. How many times have you worked with him?
4.
All right.
Although we did Hope and Faith for
Okay.
ABC television. That was the first time, in fact. So 4 on Broadway. I am madly in love with him. Madly in love with Scott. He's the best, and he is the best collaborator. Look at the scenic design, look at the lighting design, look at the costume design, look at the choreography. Scott has his hands in all of those pies. I mean, he is the best.
But you don't only collaborate with a director, you collaborate with everybody because you have like the most brilliant set designer for this show also. Who's your set
Incredible.
designer?
David Rockwell.
I mean, it's amazing the sets he puts together.
He's a genius. He's a real genius. And one of those numbers, you know, Bianca, was completely redone once I got on the set, because I was suddenly in the presence of this great David Rockwell and 3 levels to dance on, and of course I had to.
Okay, so you're there looking at this set, and you're like, oh, there's stairs going up to the dressing rooms. There's a railing there. Corbin's doing this number. So you have Corbin doing some amazing stuff for this show. I mean, he tap dances on the ceiling.
He does, but what's interesting is that I wrote in my script, Warren, don't try too hard. I really wrote myself a note, don't try too hard, because all the way through Kiss Me Kate, I've been punching, and the work is very percussive and very muscular. So I thought, I'm going to have a charm number. And in the rehearsal room, it was charming, and everyone smiled, and it was quite lovely, I thought. And I got in the theater, and I did it in front of an audience, and boy, was it a 7 out of 10. I was a 7 out of 10. Corbin is always a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
My work, 7 out of 10. So, of course, I looked at the set and realized I hadn't danced on any of the levels. So now the girls, get up there, get dancing, get on those levels.
Yeah.
Then I was like, they all need to be tapping. So then I was like, okay, get tapping. So they all bring their shoes from home. Literally, they bring them from home. In a Broadway show, they bring them from home because we didn't have time to go get any.
You're right.
They're wearing their shoes from home in the number. And then as I'm sitting in the 3rd row, I got him on the floor, and he's dancing on the stairs. And the only thing I can see is that underneath of this kind of balcony. So I knew I had to put his feet up there. So then that was the next rehearsal was, can you please weld some supports to the railings? Can you weld me some monkey bars, like a chin-up bar? And then Corbin's feet now are, of course, dancing on the ceiling.
Okay, so let's have that conversation. What was that conversation with Corbin like? Like, this is what we're going to do.
It was just like that. No, Corbin is like, Corbin, I need you just to flip upside down and just tap right there. And he's a game guy. He's the best. And of course he did, easily, in fact.
See, what I love about what you do is you don't push people, but you know how far they can push themselves and get better at what they do.
Well, and he knew that I'd be willing to show him.
Yeah.
I would be willing to risk my life and flip upside down.
Did you?
No.
But I mean, it's such a brilliant number because the first time I saw you at the theater, and I loved everything, and I saw you in the back, and you're like, oh, Richie, wait until you come back. And I'm going to have him tap dancing,
Yeah. And so it was, that's the last ingredient, the audience. That's the thing you cannot anticipate as an audience. And that's the thing I liked being kind of brave with Kiss Me Kate, was just waiting for the audience and knowing that I still had work to do on that number. And hopefully now it's across the finishing line.
You have some of the finest dancers working in your show, like the Tom, Dick, or Harry number. Who are your three boys?
Oh, Will Burton, the amazing Will
Yeah.
Burton. I did Hello Dolly
Yes.
with Will. Rick Fonio. Rick is incredible. I did On the 20th Century with Rick. And then Corbin Bleu, who we've just been talking about, who's new to me,
Yeah.
but not new to the world, and is quite wonderful.
And then the Tarantello number?
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Christine Cornish-Smith.
She's
We should talk
amazing.
about
Oh,
Christine
yeah.
too, because that woman is going to be a star. She is incredible, incredible. Erica Mansfield, Haley Fish, Amanda Lamott, and then James T. Lane.
Yeah.
I mean, this ensemble, they're no slouches.
Yeah.
You know, they're heavy hitters, every single one of them. And the fact that Too Darn Hot gets that applause every night, that is for those dancers. That applause is not for me. That is for them.
Because again, that's a character-driven number.
Yeah,
It's the
totally.
intermission of this show. They all come out to start with a cigarette and read the newspaper. The clarinet guy starts to play. People start to, then all of a sudden it becomes this huge production number.
Right, and hopefully before you even notice, in fact, you know, hopefully it just is like this beautiful 747 that
Yeah.
slowly takes off.
Okay, so this is a Kiss Me Kate for now. I mean, this is a Kiss Me Kate for 2019 and everything we're going through. What kind of conversations did you have with your director, Scott Ellis, and Amanda Green, who were sort of brought in to sort of like change a few little things from the 40s and bring it more to a Me Too movement now,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I think that's really smart of you to say that, and I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting. And socially, we are in a different place now than we were then.
Yeah.
And then, just as a creator in this day and age, I just have a responsibility to be aware of that, and also my feelings about women. I would always choose to represent women in a certain way on a Broadway stage. There are no dumb blonde chorus girls in my shows, and I choose that for a reason. You know, but yeah, and Kiss Me Kate was this delicious battle of the sexes.
Yeah.
You know, so men do something great, and guess what? The women are going to do better. And how fun is that? Casting Kelly was a big deal. You know, casting Kelly was a big plus toward that. Amanda Green was a big plus, and every single moment of Kiss Me Kate we discussed from both points of view, from the male point of view, and then strongly from the female point of view.
Yeah.
So we had fun. We had fun kind of solving that puzzle.
Because I just love the whole casting that you have put into that show. You know, I did a panel with your whole entire company, and they were like, Warren loves women.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Celebrates them. Those women in those barrels.
Yeah.
Those untouchable beauties, of course.
It's such a sexy number. Because it reminds me of like when Lucy was stomping the grapes. But women do this. They were doing this for years and years. That's what they did in wine country in Italy, right?
And it's harvest time.
Yeah.
You know, that's a sexy time too.
Sure.
You know, it's like the time of mating. It's really lovely. So that's what that was born out of.
There's so many beautiful layers to all the numbers. Because what I love about what you do also is you create for the Broadway stage, but you have a very MGM feel about you from, you know, those beautiful MGM movies.
I'm such a fan.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of it. And if you can see that in my work, then hooray, hooray, because it's where it comes from. It really is. I'm such a fan of all of those great movies, all of them.
Let's talk about dancers now. Dancers have changed a lot over the years. How have they changed, and how have you had to change as a choreographer?
Oh, I mean, they're incredible. It's like the Olympics. They're
Yeah.
jumping higher, they're turning more, they're stronger, they're better conditioned. And now, in a funny way, I think previously I'd challenge them.
Yeah.
Now what's happening in the rehearsal room is they're challenging me.
Exactly.
I'm waking up every morning thinking, holy cow, I better do something great. I better do work that's worthy of this generation.
That must be great, though, like to go home and say, I've hired the best of the best.
Oh, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to love every single face in the room, really, and to respect every single face. I love them all. I'm very, very lucky.
Well, you've given every character in Kiss Me Kate a personality
Yeah.
through their steps and everything else they do.
Yeah, well, they're involved in that process.
Yeah.
You know, they're involved in the creation of it. So I love that. I think it's very important.
Because another show, what I love about what you've done is you see that whole number and you meet every cast member. Oh, she's a dresser. He's a stage manager. He's a dance captain. You see this whole world of the musical theater come to life, and there, again, is another showstopper.
Well, hopefully, and I mean, hopefully for me, it's like a 9-minute establishing shot.
Yeah.
You get to establish the style of the show, the choreography of the show. You get to meet Kelly. We get to introduce our principals, and then, like you say, of course, we meet all these kind of creatures of the ensemble.
So when you're working on a musical, how much pre-work do you do? And then how much later is with the performers?
I do a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I do a lot. Kiss Me Kate, I've worked on really for 2 years. Truthfully, in the studio, I did an entire month of
Okay.
pre-production of every single day on my feet, 10 till 6. I work on the dance arrangements, with David Chase. I work on all the music before I go into the rehearsal room. And then 6 weeks of rehearsal. So it's a lot of time, and I'll probably pre-plan between 60 and 80%.
Okay.
And then I like to leave some things to chance or to divine inspiration. I love to be able to look at a dancer and say, like, wait, those legs are curvy and they go the other way. We got to go this way now. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right, let's just talk about being a part of Broadway. I mean, it's Tony time in New York, which is just, award season it's got to be the most bizarre time. It's got to be exciting at the same time. But you're all being honored for your work of what you do. And I know you've dreamed about being here. I mean, what does it mean to you, like, to be a part of the Broadway scene?
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I left my family in a different country to move here and do this. So this is not something I take lightly.
Yeah.
This is really a big deal for me. It's life and death every single day. And this season, to see so many friends recognized and celebrated, it makes me wildly happy. And I'm really, really grateful to be included in any of that.
Yeah. Behind us, we were talking before we went on camera, that there are a lot of these shots from the Tony Awards, and you put a lot of these opening numbers together, right?
I did. There's Hugh there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, I think, 2014.
Okay.
And then there's Kristen Chenoweth and Alan Cumming up there at the top. That was like the opening monologue, whatever that was, that I staged all of that and all the bumpers in between with them that year, and Hugh's entire telecast. So I have some fun. There are some fun memories here.
But it must be so exciting, like, to work in this business and, like, to go to your theater and walk through the stage door. I mean, how exciting is that?
Oh, every time I say thank you.
Yeah.
I say thank you. Every single time I walk through the stage door of a Broadway theater, I say thank you.
Yeah.
It just because. Doesn't even have to be my stage door.
But it's a stage door.
And it's on Broadway, and I'm thankful. I'm really thankful to be here.
Yeah. If you could sum up the best part of the experience of working on Kiss Me Kate, what's it been for you?
The dancers, the dancers, the dancers, the dancers.
Yeah. It comes down to the dancers.
Yes, it does.
Well, listen, I think I met you like the first week you were in New York working on everything, and we were like kindred spirits right away. And I love what has happened to your career. I mean, what you do is pure magic.
Thank you.